Hello everyone, we're going to continue with the expressions, equations, and inequalities unit, and today we're going to work on finding the mistake in two-step equations. Then we're going to interpret two-step equation word problems, and then lastly we're actually going to solve two-step equation word problems. So back to the beginning, I just wanted to do a little bit of a review from the last lesson with some more challenging problems. So let's go over a couple of these again. So remember, with two-step equations, if there's distribution involved, you need to go ahead and distribute. So I've got a negative times a negative, which is going to give me a positive. And then off to the side, 1.2 times 3 is going to give me 3.6r. And then a negative 3 times a negative 4 gives me positive 12. Plus 5 equals 13.4. I can combine my like terms here. 12 plus 5 gives me 17. And now we're ready to eliminate our constant. Since it's addition, we're going to subtract. So I've got a positive minus a negative. So notice that I'm going to end up with a negative answer here. One's positive, one's negative, so different signs, which means we're actually going to subtract them. That's going to leave me with a negative 3.6. And we still have 3.6r over here. And then to get r by itself, we're just going to divide 3.6. Any number divided by itself is 1. And we have a negative divided by a positive, leaving us with a negative 1 as our answer. Let's try another one of those. So here we've got a negative 2 on the outside. I'm going to distribute the negative with it, and I'm just going to bring the 4 down. Negative 2 times negative 6 gives me a positive 12m. Negative 2 times negative 2 is a positive 4. I'm going to combine my like terms. 4 and 4 gives me 8. And now we have a two-step equation. I'm going to subtract my constant. That's going to leave me with 12m equals 15 minus 8 is 7. And then my last step is to get rid of my coefficient, meaning that my answer is going to be 7/12. Okay, so let's move into finding the mistake. Basically, they're going to give you a problem here, and you have to determine if they made a mistake, and if they did, in which step. Now, here I can see that I have a 5 on the outside, so I could either do it one of the two different ways I showed you. We can either distribute first, or I can factor out the 5 first. Looking at step 1, it looks like they distributed, so let's do it that way. So that's going to leave me with 5d plus 20 equals negative 5, so that's fine. At this step, we would eliminate our constant, and what we do on one side, we do to the other. Well, is negative 5 minus 20 going to give me a positive 15? No, it's going to give me a negative 25. So right away, I can see that step 2 is where my mistake is. Felix tried to solve the equation step by step. Okay, so taking a look at the first step, notice that it's 5g minus 1, so it looks like they factored the 2 out first. So let's do that. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2. And that's going to leave me with 5g minus 1 equals 1.5. Well, 3 divided by 2 is 1.5, so that's right. Next step is to add 1 on both sides. That would leave me with 5g equals 1.5 plus 1 is 2.5. So step 2 looks good. And then my last step would be to divide through by 5. And 5 into 2.5 is going to give me an answer of 0.5. So there is no mistake in this problem. Everything looked good. Okay, here there's distribution again. Let's take a look. My first step, it looks like they went ahead and did that distribution step. So that leaves us with 3x plus 12 equals negative 18. Next, we're going to subtract 12 on both sides. Negative 18 minus 12, keep change. That's going to give me a negative 30. So 3x equals negative 30 looks good. And then when we divide through by 3, I'm going to be left with x equals negative 10. So there's no mistake in this problem either. Everything looked good. Let's try one last one. Okay, notice that what's in the parentheses here is the same as here, so it looks like they factored out 0.1 first. So we're going to divide through by 0.1. So now we're going to do 2 divided by 0.1. I have to scoot my decimal over one place, which means that this now becomes a 20. So really we're dividing 1 into 20, which 1 goes into 20 times, which is what they have. So far step 1 looks good. Next step, we want to subtract 6 on both sides. That's going to cancel. So that leaves me with 0.5m equals 14. That looks good so far. Next, we're going to divide both sides by 0.5. So I'm going to set up a second division problem. I've got to scoop my decimal over there, which means I scoop it there. So really we're doing 5 into 140. 5 goes into 14 2 times. And that's going to leave me with 28. Well, look at what they got. So clearly there's a mistake with step 3. So step 3 is where the mistake happens. Let's move along to interpreting two-step equation word problems. Now, we don't actually have to solve anything here. We are just interpreting what's happening in the problem. Okay. So it says Liliana uses 3/4 calories per minute just by sitting. She uses 1 more calorie per minute by walking. Liliana uses a total of 12 1/4 calories walking to the park. Liliana uses the equation D times 3/4 plus 1 equals 12 1/4 to represent the situation. What does the variable D represent in this equation? Well, so sitting, she burns 3/4. Walking, she burns 1 more calorie than sitting, so that would be 1 3/4. So this is what is represented by walking. So D has to represent, they said, 1 more calorie per minute by walking. So right here is how much she burns per minute walking. So D must represent the total number of minutes it takes her to walk to the park. So it says calories per minute Liliana uses walking. No, that's 1 3/4. Number of calories Liliana would have used sitting. No, because we added in the walking calorie. So that's the number of minutes Liliana walked. You can probably use process of elimination for several of these too. Okay, a display has 6 packs of marbles with a total mass of 629 grams. The packaging of each pack has a mass of 2/3 grams, and each marble has a mass of 4 1/2 grams. Which equation can be used to determine M, the number of marbles per pack? Well, each marble is 4 1/2 grams, so that would be 4 1/2 times the number of marbles, plus the marbles go on the package, 2/3 grams for the package. So for 1 package of marbles, it would be 4 1/2 M plus 2/3. Now they're telling you that there are 6 total packs of marbles. So if this is for 1 pack, to find out 6 packs, we would just multiply through by 6. And they told you that the total mass for everything is 629. So let's take a look to see if we see anything that looks like what I have. And it looks like right down here, answer choice D is the correct answer. What's wrong with this one? You're only multiplying 6 times the number of marbles, and you're not factoring in that each package weighs 2/3 grams. Here, they're multiplying 6 times the number of marbles, which that just doesn't even sound right. And then here again, 6 times the number of marbles. That doesn't sound right either. Okay, moving along. Today, there were 2 members absent from the band. The present members folded 25 programs each for a total of 525 programs. What question does the equation 525 equals 25 times x minus 2 help answer? Well, total programs. The 25 is programs folded by each member. And notice here, x, we're subtracting 2. Well, 2 people were absent, so that means that x must be the total number of people in band when no one's absent. Let's see if we can find one. How many programs did each member fold? No, because we know they folded 25 each. How many programs would the members fold if no one were absent? No. Or how many members are in the band when no one is absent? That is what we were solving. Okay, the last skill is two-step equation word problems. So we're going to start very basic with these ones and just do a little bit of translating. It says when 5 is added to 2 times the number n, the result is 19. Well, result means equals. So when 5 is added, so that would be a plus 5, to 2 times the number n, well, that would be 2n. So 2n plus 5 equals 19. And then if we wanted to go ahead and solve that, we would go ahead and just subtract 5 on both sides. That would leave me with 2n equals 14. And then we would divide through by 2, leaving us with n equals 7. Moving along to the next one, 4 times a number minus 3 is equal to 35. Well, 4 times the number would be 4n. And then times the number, 4 times the number would be 4n, minus 3 would be minus 3. So it's just really like it sounds. 4n minus 3 equals 35. If we were to solve, first thing we do is add 3 on both sides. That would leave me with 4n equals 38. And then we would divide by 4, leaving us with a simplified fraction of 19 over 2, which is equal to 9.5. A number is multiplied by 8 and then decreased by 8, and the result is 8. Well, n multiplied by 8 would be 8n. Decreased by 8 would be minus 8. And then the result is 8, equals 8. So here we would add 8 on both sides. That would leave me with 8n equals 16. And then when we divide through by 8, you'd end up with n equals 2. A number is divided by 6 and decreased by 9. So n divided by 6 would be n over 6. Decreased by 9 would mean minus 9. And the result would be negative 5. So remember, when we show division with algebraic equations, we always use a fraction bar rather than a division symbol. So n divided by 6 minus 9 equals negative 5. To solve this, I would add 9 on both sides. That would leave me with n over 6 equals a positive 4. And then we would multiply by 6 on both sides, leaving us with a final answer of n equals 24. So when it comes to word problems, you might want to just follow these steps. So the first thing I like to do is I kind of like to work backwards. So I start with my equal sign, and it's usually pretty obvious in the problem what the answer is, or the total amount. That obviously will go on the right-hand side of your equal sign. The next thing I like to do is identify what my variable is, and then determine which number goes with it. That's going to be your coefficient. And then the last thing is to determine what your constant is and to write your equation and then solve it. So let's try another one. Sarah wants to buy a calculator that costs $54, including tax. She already has $18 saved, and she can save $9 per week. Write an equation to find the number of additional weeks she needs to save. Starting with my equal sign, the total amount for the calculator is 54. My variable is W, and that represents the weeks. Well, what number in the problem has to do with weeks? $9. $9 per week means 9 times the number of weeks. And then plus the 18 she already has saved. So as you can see, I kind of worked backwards here. So now we're going to go ahead and solve it. We're going to subtract 18 on both sides. That's going to leave me with 36. So 9w equals 36. And then we're going to divide both sides by 9, leaving me with w equals 4 weeks. Remember, with word problems, we always want to label our answers. Let's try another one. If KJ multiplies his age by 3 and adds 10, the answer is equal to 61. Well, he's going to multiply his age by 3. So 3 times whatever variable we want to use, which let's use x here. 3 times x, and then plus 10 equals 61. So if I were to solve this, first we'd subtract 10. That would leave me with 3x equals 51. And then when I divide through by 3, I'm going to be left with, well, 3 into 51. 3 goes in once, and 3 goes into 21 7 times. So that's going to leave us with an answer of x equals 17. Anne took a taxi home from the airport. The taxi fare was $2.10 per mile, and she gave the driver a tip of $5. Anne paid a total of $49.10. Write an equation to determine the total distance in miles, x, between the airport and Anne's home. And then we actually have to solve for x and find the distance between the airport and her home. So I'm going to start with my equal sign. The total was $49.10. My variable is x, and that represents miles. Well, what number has to do with the miles? $2.10 per mile means that we're multiplying $2.10 per each mile, and then plus a $5 tip. Now you guys can use calculators with these problems. You'll notice in this skill there is a little calculator icon at the top, which means that you are welcome to use it. So we're left with, oops, I'm using the wrong variable here. Hang on, let's switch out m and use the right one, which is x. So that leaves me with 210x equals 44.10, and then we're going to divide both sides by $2.10. On my calculator, 44.10 divided by 2.10 gives me an answer of x equals 21 miles. So our equation was 2.10x plus 5 equals 49.10. Javier paid a total of $15.50 when he went to the movies. He got 2 tickets and a popcorn that cost $5.30. Write and solve an equation to find the cost of a movie ticket. So let's start with our equal sign. The total he spent was $15.50. My variable is the tickets. T represents tickets. And how much does what number has to do with the tickets? Well, he got 2 of them. So that would be 2 times the cost of a ticket plus the $5.30 he spent on popcorn. And there's our equation. We're going to subtract $5.30 on both sides. That leaves me with 2t equals $10.20. And then we're going to divide through by 2, and that leaves me with my answer of $5.10 per ticket. For his birthday, Steve's parents paid for him and 3 friends to see a Baltimore Bruins hockey game. Steve's parents paid $156 for the hockey tickets and the Metro tickets. The Metro tickets were $4. How much were the hockey tickets? This one's a little bit tricky. Now, they paid a total of $156, so I know that that's going to go on the right-hand side of my equal sign. Now, what's important to notice is that they paid for him and 3 of his friends to go. So there were 4 people total. Now, they had to buy a hockey ticket and a Metro ticket. We know that the hockey ticket was $4, but we don't know how much the hockey ticket is. That's what we're trying to find. So let's use T for ticket. So we need a hockey ticket that's $T plus a $4 Metro ticket. and then there were 4 people. So this one actually ends up becoming a distribution problem. Or if you wanted to figure it out this way, you needed 4 hockey tickets, which would be 4T, plus 4 metro tickets, and they're $4 a piece. So 4 times 4 would be 16, which when you think about it, once I distribute, I'm left with 4T plus 16 equals 156. So that gives us our equation. They use the variable x, I'm using t. So now we're just going to solve it. I'm going to subtract 16 on both sides. That leaves me with 4t equals 140. And then when we divide 140 by 4, that leaves me with $35, which is our final answer. Let's erase that line. There we go. Okay, let's try a couple more of these. At the beginning of the season, McDonald had to remove 5 orange trees from his farm. Each of the remaining trees produced 210 oranges for a total harvest of 41,790 oranges. Write an equation to determine the initial number of orange trees, T, on McDonald's farm, and find the initial number of orange trees on his farm. Okay, so total harvest is 41,790. He started with T trees, but then he had to remove 5. So T minus 5. And then each of the remaining trees produces 210 oranges. So you're going to have distribution on this one as well. The initial amount of trees was altered. So that's an indication that there's distribution. So that's going to leave me with 210T. 210 times 5 is 1,050. And now we're going to add 1,050 on both sides. That leaves us with 210T equals 42,840. And then your last step is to divide through by 210. So 42,840 divided by 210 gives me a final answer of T equals 204. So it's 204 orange trees, and then our equation would be 210 times the quantity of T minus 5 equals 41,790. Let's try one last one together. In winter, the price of apples suddenly went up by 75 cents per pound. Sam bought 3 pounds of apples at the new price for a total of $5.88. Again, we're looking for an equation. Well, the total amount was $5.88. We want to know what the original price was per pound P. We know that the price went up 75 cents. So the price per pound plus the 75 cents. And then he bought 3 pounds of them. So that's your initial equation. We're going to distribute 3 times P gives us 3P plus 75 cents times 3 gives us $2.25 equals $5.88. Next step, eliminate your constant. So that leaves us with 3P equals $3.63. And then our last step is to divide through by 3. And this, you can actually do mental math for this. 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into 6 twice, and 3 goes into 3 once. Remember, we're dealing with money, so we should have a label of $1.21. That does it for those 3 skills. The correlating note-taking packet pages are pages, oh, something's not right here. I think it's probably 19. That must be a typo. 19 through 24. So let's just cross that out. Pages 19 through 24. And again, please watch the videos on Khan Academy if you would like to see additional examples. Have a great day, everyone.